I have no doubt in my mind that reality is almost entirely created by imagination. I am not a particle physicist, but I think we have the capacity to change the world around us in quite fundamental ways. Lyle Watson.
Hello everyone, I'm Murillo. As we've discussed in previous videos, the universe functions like a hologram. Today, I want to dive deeper into this by introducing the man who made this concept famous, Michael Talbot, and his groundbreaking book, The Holographic Universe. The Untold Story of Michael Talbot. Michael Talbot was an American author born in 1953. I first became interested in him after watching one of his interviews, which inspired me to pick up his book. While the interview itself did not go deeply into this aspect, the book reveals that Talbot was an exceptionally gifted psychic. According to his own accounts, he could see people's auras, experience out-of-body travel, witness poltergeist phenomena, and even encounter materialization, objects appearing seemingly out of nowhere. There were reports of pasta suddenly manifesting in midair, or fragments of glass falling from the ceiling without explanation. Living amid such mysterious events, Talbot likely felt frustrated that conventional physics could not fully explain the reality he experienced every day. This sense of questioning seems to have fueled his deep passion for exploring one fundamental mystery: how is the world made, and what is it truly composed of? That passion shines throughout his work, reflected in the many striking examples he shares. Sadly, Talbot passed away just 1 year after publishing this book, which makes its message feel even more profound and meaningful today. Now, let me share some of the most impressive ideas from his work. The origins of the holographic theory. The idea of the holographic universe did not suddenly appear out of nowhere. It emerged through the work of pioneering scientists in the 20th century who began questioning the traditional view of reality. One of the most important figures was physicist David Bohm. Influenced by quantum mechanics and his work with Albert Einstein, Bohm grew dissatisfied with standard theories that treated the universe as fragmented and incomplete. Instead, he proposed that reality is fundamentally interconnected. To explain this, he introduced the concepts of the implicate order and the explicate order. The explicate order is the world we normally perceive, where objects and events appear separate in space and time. The implicate order is a deeper level of reality, where everything is enfolded into everything else. Bohm compared this to a hologram, in which each part contains information about the whole. In his view, physical reality is only a projection from this deeper, invisible dimension. Around the same time, neuroscientist Karl Pribram proposed that the brain also works in a holographic way, with memory and perception distributed throughout the entire brain. When Bohm's theory of the universe and Pribram's theory of the brain were combined, a powerful new model emerged, suggesting that both the cosmos and human consciousness may be organized according to holographic principles. These ideas later inspired Michael Talbot, who introduced them to a wider audience in The Holographic Universe. However, it is important to note that while this model is rooted in real scientific research, it remains largely philosophical and speculative, and is not widely accepted in mainstream science. Even so, Talbot argued that when viewed through a holographic lens, many unexplained phenomena, such as psychic experiences and spontaneous healing, begin to make sense in a new way. The powerful connection between mind and body. If the universe is holographic, how does our consciousness affect our physical bodies? Talbot presents many examples showing that our state of mind can influence health and illness. For instance, some terminal cancer patients practiced vivid visualization, imagining their immune cells attacking and destroying cancer cells. In certain cases, these individuals experienced unexpected and remarkable recoveries. If the brain operates according to holographic principles, it may not clearly distinguish between intensely imagined experiences and real ones. From this perspective, a powerful mental image, a healthy hologram created in the mind, may influence the body's physical condition. Talbot also discusses studies of people with multiple personalities, now known as dissociative identity disorder. In some cases, when a person's personality shifted, their physical symptoms changed as well. Allergies disappeared, diabetic symptoms vanished, and even eye color was reported to change. These dramatic transformations suggest that consciousness may have the ability to reshape the body almost instantly by switching to a different holographic identity. According to this view, the body is not merely a biological machine, but a dynamic expression of consciousness itself. Stanislav Grof and LSD research. Dr. Stanislav Grof spent more than 30 years studying altered states of consciousness. As a former assistant professor of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins, his original goal was to explore whether LSD could be used for therapeutic purposes. However, Grof soon discovered that his patients' experiences were far more profound than he had expected. They were not random hallucinations or meaningless fantasies. Instead, they appeared to be expressions of deep layers of the unconscious mind. During these sessions, many patients reported that their sense of self dissolved. Their consciousness expanded beyond the boundaries of the ego, allowing them to experience being other people, animals, plants, and even microscopic cells, atoms, or entire planets. In other words, they no longer felt limited to a single physical body or identity. After analyzing more than 2,000 sessions, Grof reached a striking conclusion. He stated,
The data from LSD research indicates an urgent need to drastically revise our current paradigms in psychology, psychiatry, medicine, and perhaps science in general.
There is no doubt that our understanding of the universe, the nature of reality, and especially the human being, is superficial, incorrect, and incomplete. For Grof, these altered states revealed that human consciousness is far deeper and more complex than conventional science had ever imagined. This matches what Bentov talked about in a previous video when he explained the process of evolution. He said that wherever there is a response, there is consciousness. For more details, please check out that video. Past lives, near-death experiences, and higher beings. Talbot also explored life after death and reincarnation. He referenced the work of psychiatrist Joel Witten at the University of Toronto. Through hypnosis, Witten studied past lives in dozens of subjects. Universally, these subjects stated that the purpose of life is to evolve and learn, and that reincarnation provides the opportunity to do so. Interestingly, when regressed to the interlife period, the space between incarnations, subjects described a realm where they plan their next life. In this space, where time and distance do not exist, self-awareness is heightened and one possesses a high moral and ethical consciousness. It becomes impossible to justify one's flaws or mistakes with excuses. one views themselves with absolute honesty. In this realm, there are beings who help with the planning. They aren't there to judge based on rewards and punishments, but rather to teach. Ultimately, you are the one who plans your own life. This aligns with reports from near-death experience survivors. They often describe a life review where their entire life is replayed with incredible vividness and speed. You re-experience every emotion from every event and even feel the emotions of the people you interacted with. It's like a holographic VR movie. When one NDE survivor asked a guide if what they had done was right, the guide responded with a question. Did you do it out of love? Was your motive love? They suggest we are placed on Earth to learn that love is the key to everything. The second point these beings emphasize is knowledge, as it is one of the few things you can take with you into the afterlife. These stories mirror what we've seen in the works of Robert Monroe and Swedenborg. However, a question remains. If Earth is a school for learning love, why is it so harsh and full of suffering? What exactly is love? Personally, this is where it gets confusing, but I feel it relates to the evolutionary process mentioned by Itzhak Bentov. In the unseen world, love seems to be defined as helping others become more than human and bringing them closer to the absolute, the source of everything, by sharing knowledge. The darkness of the ruling class and non-human shadows. Let's shift our perspective slightly and examine the incomprehensible realities unfolding in modern society. Many of you are probably familiar with the recent headlines surrounding the EpsteinFiles, which exposed shocking allegations that influential figures in politics, business, and even the scientific community were connected to deeply disturbing and inhumane scandals. This raises an important question. Why would individuals who have already achieved immense wealth, power, and recognition engage in such cruel and seemingly inhuman behavior? It is difficult to explain this level of darkness through personal desire alone. Some have therefore begun to ask a more unsettling question. Could they be influenced or even manipulated by something beyond the human realm? Recall the research of Stanislav Grof, introduced earlier through Talbot's work, as well as numerous accounts from near-death experiences. Many testimonies suggest that non-human forms of intelligence may exist beyond the limits of ordinary human consciousness. If reality truly functions like a hologram, and if entities exist within frequency ranges that lie beyond our perception, and if among them there are not only benevolent beings, but also parasitic intelligences that feed on negative emotions and psychological energy, could this help explain why our world often feels so harsh and chaotic? In this view, those we believe to be the rulers of our world might not be the ultimate decision-makers at all, but rather intermediaries, or even puppets, of non-human forces operating from higher dimensions. Take a look at this chart. This shows is that we are unable to perceive 99.9% of the world. This likely relates to what I said in the Your Reality video. Out of the 11 million bits of information the unconscious receives, only about 50 bits actually reach our conscious mind. Our perception is extremely limited. We don't know the history of why human cognition became so restricted. However, it's easy to understand that the 99.9% we don't perceive isn't just empty space. People who have had out-of-body or near-death experiences report meeting various beings, suggesting there are intelligent entities other than humans, and they seem to know far more than we do. Reading Talbot's book reminds us that we are unknowingly using our consciousness to shape this world. Using your mind to heal a disease is just one example. The law of attraction is likely the same principle. Realizing that
I am not a powerless being, but a sovereign entity with the power to rewrite the hologram, is the first step to decoding this holographic reality. In the next few videos, I want to continue exploring what this invisible, metaphysical world is like.
I'd be happy if you could find this video interesting. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you for watching until the very end. I'll see you next time.